What's going on? It's your boy Masta be here live from the MMB Radio Studios for the MMB Radio Podcast, where no topic is too big or too small. We talk about them all. And on the phone lines right now, I want to welcome in a woman who is a woman of all trades. Not only is she a published author, she's a published swimsuit model, and she's a personal trainer, a sponsored athlete. I mean, I could go on and on and on. And I know she's probably going to tell you is that she doesn't want all that attention. But, I mean, fact of the matter is, she does all this stuff. And we're going to talk to her tonight. So I want to welcome in Alysia Rieg. Alysia, what's going on?
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm really excited about talking with you.
Yeah, I had mentioned a jack of all trades. Like, that's a pretty extensive, like, work title that you have going there.
A jack of all trades, master at nothing.
Well, that's what I tell people I do for a living, so, you know. But no, seriously, that's a lot, and we're going to talk a bit about yourself tonight. And I know it feels a little weird talking about yourself. People come in and they're talking and they're like, I feel kind of weird talking about myself, but I mean, you've accomplished a lot, so it's only right that we give kudos to someone who's accomplished so much great things.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Not a problem. So I guess, we'll just go right down the list here. So, you are originally from where?
Texas, Dallas, Texas.
Okay, so originally from the Lone Star State. Yeah, I mean, everything's bigger in Texas, they say, right?
And they are.
I was gonna say, I mean, I guess if you're gonna be somebody, you might as well be, somebody big in Texas. And so you've lived in Texas your entire life?
I was born here, and then I traveled and moved and lived all over the world. Oh. My dad was a military; he was in the Navy.
Okay.
And then when he retired, he came back to Dallas, and I spent my last 2-3 years here, almost 4 years of high school. And then I was like, there's got to be more to this world than Texas. And so I left and went to Hawaii for college. Okay. And then from there on, I went all over the world.
Now, when you were away in college in Hawaii, what were you studying?
I was doing my general basic things until I figured out what I was going to do, but I ended up with a business degree. Okay. And then I started my master's degree in finance, but I never finished that because I was married to a Marine, and during the Iraq War, Operation Iron Fist, his sniper platoon got blown up, and one died, and the other came home, but they had just gotten to Iraq, so they couldn't go home. They had to come back to the base that we were stationed at, and their parents and their family members came, but they couldn't stay long, because they had to go home and take care of life. And so the Marines were there, and they had nobody to take them back and forth to their doctors. So I stopped going to graduate school and took care of these Marines until their battalion got home. So I never finished it.
Wow.
And now I think it's probably too late to go finish it.
Well, it's never too late to finish anything. But first, let me say, thank you for, what you've done. It takes I tell people all the time when I thank people for their services, and I tell them, thank you for your service, if it's a veteran or active and everything. But I also make sure I thank their family as well, because a lot of people don't understand that when you are married to someone who's in the service, that it's a family thing. There's a lot of sacrifices that, wives and girlfriends and fiancés and mothers of veterans, children, stuff like that, have to go through. So, thank you for, putting aside, your education to do, the betterment of our country.
You're welcome. It was my honor.
So, and if everybody who is looking through your Instagram and, a big presence on social media, and they see, again, that you're doing all these different things, different photos. I mean, you just scroll through here. I mean, we got pictures of you with, skydiving and, and all this, like, weight training, and we got you, doing all kinds of, like, crazy stuff. So when you were in college, when did someone approach you and say, hey, you should be, doing modeling work? Or was that something you were even thinking about doing, or that's just something that just kind of landed in your lap?
Well, when I was 15, my parents were divorced, and I was visiting my mom in California, in San Francisco, and there was an agency that wanted me to come to them and become one of their clients, but I couldn't because I was living in Texas. And so when I was 19 and I went to college, I had a photographer approach me to do a swimsuit calendar. But my mom by that time I reunited with my mom, and she was like, "You're in college, you can't be doing that." So I ended up not doing the calendar. And then I had another agency approach me, and they wanted me to go to New York and find an agent with them. And again, because I'm half Vietnamese, Asian moms are like, "No, education, education, education." So I didn't go do that. And then it wasn't until, and then I just thought I was done and over. Like it was like too late to do it. And then I went through my divorce, and I fell rock bottom. And so finally I decided I can't be rock bottom. Like, this is not how I want to live anymore, or for my kids. So I decided to go to the gym, and then I ended up setting a goal, and my goal was, okay, I want to do a bodybuilding competition. So I did that, and then I got really fit, and then I did a shoot with this team that I had joined, this bodybuilding team. And then from then on, like, different people just started asking me, "Hey, can I shoot you?" And I was like, okay. I didn't know, I didn't have an agent. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know how to pose. And so, like, even now still, I like a photographer to give me direction so that I know I can give them what they want, because they, they're artists. They see things a certain way in their head, and it helps me. But that's how I ended up in modeling. And so in my book that I wrote, I talk about how, because I'm a very strong Christian woman, about how even though I thought that all my dreams were gone and over and dead, and I was too old, and I didn't have all these advantages or opportunities, according to the Bible, God said He will give you beauty for ashes, and He'll repay you. And He brought back all the dreams that I did, I'd forgotten and let go, and He made them come to pass. And it was like blowing my mind, because I was like, it was like a twofold thing. It was helping me through right after my divorce, because my divorce sent me rock bottom in every sense. It was mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, everything. I had no self-esteem. I had nothing. And then for people to come out of the woodwork and be like, "Hey, I want to shoot you," I was like, what is going on? And I shot with this photographer, Marissa Boucher, in San Diego, and the pictures were so pretty that I blew some of them up. I mean, like, her work was amazing. And it sounds crazy. I hung the ones that I loved on my wall. And those pictures helped me when I would look at it on the days that I wasn't feeling very pretty or very cute and had no self-esteem. I was like, I guess I kind of can be pretty. And I would look at those pictures. And so those kind of helped me rebuild my self-esteem. And then these random photographers were like, "Hey, I want to shoot you." Like, I was like, maybe I'm kind of cute. Like, because all I wanted to do was be cute at least one day, Because I, like, had no self-esteem. My divorce, like, shattered me.
Mm-hmm.
But that's my whole modeling story. It's not that, like, exciting or...
No, I mean, it's empowering, because, as you mentioned, anytime anybody goes through a divorce, it's not always, peaches and cream. And most times than not, it is, a drawn-out process where, two people, for whatever reason, no longer see eye to eye on things. And when you have two people that don't see eye to eye on things, and you're trying to divvy up certain things, it can get a little messy. And I can totally relate. I mean, I've never been married and divorced, but I can relate where, it can be very stressful, and you start to lose that confidence. So the fact that, you were able to find that through, spiritual belief and doing modeling work is really cool. And then, just the whole doing the, personal training thing. So, I mean, I'm assuming once, you started to get attention from photographers and everything, start training and everything, and I know that can kind of help release a lot of that stress and, bad vibes that you're feeling as well. So how did you get into that? Have you always been? You seem like you've always been kind of like an active person your whole life. Am I right or wrong in that?
Yeah, you're right. I was a tomboy. I hung out with my little brother, who's 3 years younger than me, and I always hung out with him because they were always doing fun things, like like when you used to put bricks under a piece of wood and then you would use it as a ramp and jump. Like that was way before BMX. um, Stuff like that, and we would just be doing crazy stuff. And so I was always a tomboy, and the girls never really liked me anyways. So I just hung out with boys, and I was always active. But in high school, I dated this guy who worked out a lot, and so he taught me a few things. But again, it wasn't till my divorce that I got really into training. I decided one day, I was like, I need to change my environment. I need to change my scenery. And I got off the couch because I was so depressed. I was laying there sleeping all the time and crying, doing nothing but sleeping and crying. And I was like, my kids deserve more than this. So one day I got dressed, took them to school, and instead of going home, I went straight to the gym, and I just got on the treadmill, and I just started walking and praying and thinking about my life and, like, what's going on, what's going to happen. And I'd be crying, but I was hoping that people would think I was sweating. So I had my towel, and I was like, wipe my face. And I said, okay, in order to do something, like, I need to figure out a goal. I need to set something that I could work towards. And so I decided I'm going to pick something that I've never tried. I know absolutely nothing about. I don't know how to get there. I don't know what to do. And so I picked bodybuilding. It just, like, sounded like a good idea, and I knew nothing about bodybuilding. Mm-hmm. And so I just started training for it, and then this lady was training on a machine next to me, and I saw her, and she was, like, really buff, and I was like, you work out a lot? Are you, like, a trainer? Are you a bodybuilder? And she was a professional bodybuilder. And so she started training me for free. I mean, she literally would come to my house and pick me up at 3, 4 in the morning to take me to the gym, make me work out. And then she brought me to the road of competing. So my goal was to compete. It wasn't to win. It was just to compete. And so I competed, and then I was like, you know what? I'm always in the gym. I might as well get paid for it. So I went and got my certification. And because I was also a single mom, so I was, like, hustling. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, okay, I need another job. And so that's how I got into personal training. And then next thing I know, I got picked as trainer of the month. And my before and after picture, and then helping different clients just brought me more clients, which that's how I ended up in getting photographed for fitness. All because I had one desire to hit a goal and change my life because I didn't like it the way it was anymore.
No, I mean, it goes on to say that, you not only, were you published in different publications for your training and athletic work, but you're also sponsored too. So, I mean, there's people out there that, I mean, it's got to feel good to one thing that, see a transformation. I mean, it's like everybody wants to do a Transformation Tuesday photo, but when you're actually transforming and you, people are wanting to sponsor this process is a pretty surreal feeling, I would think.
Yeah, it was crazy. I was like, are you sure you want to sponsor me? Like, I didn't get it. And so Prime Nutrition was my first sponsor. And then Amanda Louise picked me up and sponsored me with swimsuits. And then I just kept getting different sponsors, and people would reach out to me and be like, hey, we want you to represent our brand. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, these people must see something I don't see. I don't know, but I'm just thankful that somebody saw me, especially coming from a place where I felt nobody saw me. Mm-hmm.
Now, what?
So it was an unbelievable feeling, I guess.
Now, what compelled you to go ahead and write a book? So you've already sound like you have a plate full of stuff to do, being a mother, which that too. I mean, how do you tackle that type of schedule where you're constantly working, shooting photo shoots, being a personal trainer, working out, talking to me, factoring in all of this stuff, and also be able to, give, time to your children?
Well, I was also a substitute teacher. So I was like, I didn't have as many clients. Like, I had a business degree, and I could have went, because I lived in California. I lived in Southern California during my divorce. I live an hour east of Palm Springs, which was by the Marine Corps base. And there was absolutely no jobs there. So if I wanted a job, I'd have to travel down the mountain hill to about an hour or two to go get a good paying job. But I didn't want to leave my kids at home because my priorities for my kids had changed. So when I was married, my goal for my kids were you will speak another language, you will play one instrument, and you will play a sport. You don't have to be good at any of it, but you're going to do it. And then when I got divorced, my goals for my kids became you will not end up on drugs, you will not end up pregnant, and you will graduate high school. So I was like, I'm not going to go down the hill because, I have to travel for an hour or two both ways. That's 4 hours of the day. And then work time. So I was like, I don't want my kids to be at home doing whatever they want, having whoever at my house, because I did not want them to end up, with the stereotypical single mom kids,
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to get my teaching certification and became a substitute teacher. So I would substitute during the day, and then I would, sometimes I would train at night, or I would train or work half a day training, half a day teaching, so that I could be on my kids' schedule and be available to go to their events and their stuff, that they needed. And so while I was substituting, I was writing my book. Like while I was on lunch break, or if the kids were scheduled to watch a movie, during that hour I'd be writing, or on a teacher work period where they have a free hour where they do whatever work they have to do, I would write then. And then sometimes I would be at the gym and I would sit on the bike and I'd have my laptop and I would write. And then I'd come home at night and my kids would go to bed and I would sit on the couch and write. And it was just laid on my heart. It was crazy because I was like, I don't know where this idea to write a book came from. I just felt like, I was like, God, if you want me to write this book, I'll write it, but you got to get it published and you got to bring me to people because I don't know how to become published. I don't know. I just know how to write.
Mm-hmm.
And it was crazy because people were coming up to me and saying stuff, and I never told anyone I wanted to be an author. People were just saying, hey, I could see you doing, my one friend, she was like, I could see you doing a Barnes & Noble book signing. I could see a cutout of you. I could, people just randomly, you should be an author. And I'm like, what? The whole world, the whole universe was like, write a book. I just started writing it, and I didn't, go look for a publisher. And, people just came to me, and then my book got published. And I ended up doing 4 or 5 books in the Noble, which was so crazy because my friend had said that to me just out of the blue. I was like, what are you smoking? Where are you coming from? And so I just made time,
Mm-hmm.
to write.
Now,
My life is really crazy, and the stories are, unbelievable. People are like, I just prayed.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, you just don't want to help me. You don't want me to be successful. And I'm like, no, that's literally what I did. And people just think I don't want to help them.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I did.
So let me ask, with all the fitness stuff and, the book writing and being a mother and a single parent and all that, what goals do you have still for, the modeling stuff? Is there still things that you want to do, or has it become more of if it's an opportunity that just presents itself, or are you striving to do something with that?
No, the last 3-4 years, Maxim had reached out to me, they text messaged me, they emailed me, everything, and they're like, we want you to compete for first it was for Maxim's Finest, and then it was for the cover of Maxim. And so I did it, and the first time for the cover, I think I took second in my category, and then 8th on the wild card internationally, and then the next one I took 3rd, so I didn't even get into the wild card, and I think it was 3rd. And so I really, really wanted Maxim, but it's not really. If it happens again, it happens. I would like to land a cover of a magazine, but I'm not gonna actively pursue it. If the opportunity comes, it was meant to be. If it wasn't, then that's not the path I was supposed to walk. But I do want to I want to shoot some cosplay because I just think that's kind of cool. And who I see in my head is I want to do some shoots like that. So this photographer named Rob Cano, if you look at his Instagram, he does tactical. And he reached out to me, and like you just said, he went through my Instagram, and then he messaged me, and he's like, oh my gosh, I need to talk to you. I want to shoot with you. And then he's like, I need to call me. I need to talk to you. And so I was talking to him, and then I'm like, how much do you charge? He goes, no, I want to shoot you for free. And I just want to shoot you. And so I said, okay. So I've been training to shoot with him, which I'm really excited about shooting with him, because there was another photographer I wanted to shoot with, but he was outrageously priced. And I was a single mom, and I was like, yeah, I can't afford that. So how I envision myself, I'm not shooting with you. And then this opportunity came to shoot with this amazing photographer. So I'm shooting with him in February in Arizona. So right now it looks like if an opportunity presents itself and I like it, I'll shoot it. Otherwise, I'm just doing me, I guess.
Now it's funny they
I'm
say.
not like trying to be a.
It's funny you say you do you and everything. So what's like a normal day in a life for you?
It's so funny because people will say, hey, what is your schedule? I'm like, I don't know. My schedule changes day to day, and I absolutely love it like that. So depending on the day, depends on what I'm doing. Like when you and I were talking about what time do you want to, are you available? I'm like, call me the day before or whatever, because I don't know my schedule. Like this week I was supposed to be off all week, but then they needed help and coverage, so I said, okay, I'll help you. And so all this week I'm working on a construction site as the medical team. I am the medical team for this construction site of 500 people. And then I have a photographer that had flown in from California, and he wanted to shoot. We had talked on the phone, but he got sick, and the minute he landed, he went straight to urgent care from the airport, and he's been sick. So I'm waiting to find out what his schedule is. I got an invite to go to SHOT Show in Vegas for next week, but I haven't got the details yet, and it drives me crazy because it's like, I need to know, am I going? Or I have other people that are asking me to do stuff, and I'm like juggling, and I hate having people wait on me, you know, like, give me an answer. But my schedule is different every single day. Some days I'll be working out all day, or I'll be volunteering with an organization, or I'll be working. I don't know, I do whatever I feel like doing that day. Some days I'm just lazy and want to just lay around and watch movies, you know.
Now, one of the other things that, I mean, you note that you're a motivational speaker, and you and me were talking, and you were saying about how you love to give relationship advice. And I said, I laughed at it. I said, it's funny that the people that seem to give the best advice are the ones that are not in a current relationship. So what qualifies you, if people were to ask, to be the guru on relationships?
Well, I know that's so funny, right? So I have a page that I don't let anybody know that I run, but it's a relationship page, and it has like over 12,000 followers on it, but nobody knows it's mine. Because I try to help, especially marriages, fight for your marriage. And so everything, when I got divorced, after I got back on my feet and I was figuring out who I was and stuff, I started looking back at my marriage and taking responsibility and accountability before God and for myself. Like, I didn't go to my ex-husband and be like, I did probably apologize for a few things, but I didn't sit down and be like, I'm sorry for this. And so I started looking at the things that I didn't like and where I feel I fell short in my marriage. Because, in a divorce, it's always two people. It takes two people. I wasn't perfect. I was a good wife, but I wasn't the perfect wife. And so I looked at those things, and I looked at the things that I didn't like about me. And I worked on myself for 2 years, studying, seminars, reading, meditating, writing, just all kinds of things, and accepting the things that I did wrong, and trying to see how I could change it and to become a better person. So literally, when I say I work hard on trying to be a better person every day, I do. And it was really hard for me because to look within yourself, it's really hard to be like, oh my gosh, it's kind of embarrassing. Even if nobody knows, just you. It's embarrassing. You feel guilt. You feel shame. You feel like, wow, you're just like, I don't know if I like me. And so I had to figure out the things I didn't like and change it. And I looked and I studied about everything that needed to be, like, communication. So now when I'm in a relationship, and it doesn't have to be a romantic, like, dating relationship, just with anybody. I straight out tell them, all I want from you is your trust, your loyalty, and communication. That's all, and your respect. But the respect, I think, just comes over time, when you have your trust, your loyalty, and your communication. But communication to me was the thing that I had to work the hardest on, and being able to, like, how you say your words, watching your tone, watching the words that you choose, and stuff like that, because everybody wants to be heard, everybody wants to be seen, and people want to be understood. And so, like, being able to acknowledge and then taking accountability for, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you, or I didn't mean to, like, that was not my heart's intention, just stuff like that, acknowledging the other person and just showing them that they're valuable is what I like to teach. And that all comes with communication. And then like, okay, we need to take a break right now and just breathe and then come back to this. But when I walk away, we have a time limit. Okay, we're coming back together in an hour, or tomorrow we're going to talk. That way you don't feel like, okay, are we going to be talking? Is this just, where is the time, that I can vent my feelings and stuff like that. So I don't know. I guess that my experience and failures is what qualifies me.
I mean, you've convinced me.
I'm not real sure.
I mean, you've either, you either convinced me or you're a good bullshitter, But either way, what is one thing that, I mean, you do this Instagram page, or, you have, nobody knows that you're the, the person that's running it. You're, like this ghostwriter for it. But what is the most common question or concern people bring to you when they're like, I need advice on this aspect of my relationship? What's the one thing that you constantly hear or see a lot of?
My husband or my wife doesn't, like, care about me anymore. So there's this book called, I read a lot of books. There's this book called Love and Respect. I can't think of the top of my head who the author is, but it was a husband-wife team. And then the book, The 5 Love Languages, that's an amazing book. And that book, I read that book 3 times. And it wasn't until the 3rd time that I was like, oh my gosh, I get it. So the way we love people, and then I tried to explain this to them, like, what do you like? Do you like people telling you, oh, good job? Or do you like hugs and kisses and sex and physical touches? Or do you like people giving you gifts? Like, what do you like? Is my question to you.
To my question to me? I mean, I'm the type person, I mean, I like praise, I don't need all the hugging, kissing, and gift stuff, but I do like praise. It does feel good to have that positive reinforcement, to tell somebody that, you think they're doing, a great job at whatever they're doing, whether it be work or, a life goal or, their part in a relationship.
So that's your love language. So your love language is the way that you love other people. So you like people to tell you, oh, good job, I'm proud of you, that's great, And so when you tell other people, oh, that's great, I'm so proud of you, and that's not their love language, like, that's not my love language, I would be like, oh, thank you. But I wouldn't be like, oh, my God, I feel loved. Because what we have to do is we have to pay attention so, like, say you and I were in a relationship, and I know that that's what you like, so whenever I get an opportunity, I just, like, build you up and empower you with my words, not with gifts, because I know that will make you feel like she loves me, she cares about me, I feel safe, But if you were to do that to me, I'd be like, well, that's nice, but that's not my love language.
So what is your love language
spend time with me, mine is acts of service and quality time, which to me, they kind of both go together. So, like, if you bought a gift for me, I would be like, oh, thanks. It could be like the biggest diamond in the world, and I'd probably be like, oh, thank you. I really like it, and I do really like it. But the thing I like the most about it is that you went out of your way, you took time out of your schedule, you thought of me, you put a lot of thought into it. That's what I like, and then how you presented it to me, is what I would love the most about it, because mine is like spend time with me and do things for me or with me, not necessarily like for me, like serve me, but be thoughtful. Mm-hmm. Those are my two love languages, and so I think that's why I'm really good in the medical field, and people are attracted to me because they know they feel loved or cared for, because I always am like serving. I am always serving people and thinking about them and trying to be thoughtful, so much to the point that I probably shouldn't do it as much as I do, but it's just my nature, And especially in this day and age with this world so broken and so many people are needing and wanting because they're lacking, I think that's why people are drawn to me, because that whatever they're missing, whether it's their mom didn't love them enough, or their dad wasn't there, or their spouse or friend or whatever isn't giving them attention, they like that I actually care enough about them to sit and listen to them and hear their story or whatever. And so when I do that, I pay very close attention to the way they move and the way they speak and the words that they choose, so that I could try to figure out their love language. And if I don't, so that I could love them in their language. Even, and the word love isn't like, oh, romantic love. It's loving means like, I'm patient with you, I'm caring about you, I'm being thoughtful for you, I'm being kind to you. And so that's why I want to love you in your language. And a lot of guys think I'm just crazy, like in love with them and obsessed with them. And I'm like, no, I'm just trying to like love you in your love language, just because you're another human, not because I'm so infatuated with you. I do that with everybody. And so I try to teach that in relationship and communication and how you speak and all these things. And I'm not in a relationship.
I was going to say, now, I mean, is that by choice, or is it just, because of work schedule, or what?
It's kind of by choice, but I think I'm also picky. And then I kind of like, when I start talking to someone, I always think long term, not necessarily like, oh, I'm going to marry this person, but I always think long term. Am I going to? Because there's always that chance that this could be the person. So I pay attention to like the way they act, or the way they speak, or the way they talk to other people, or the way they treat me, or if I do something, how do they react to it, And then if they don't measure up to my standard of what I want, I'm like, yeah, that's not the one. And I've yet to meet one. So my thing is with guys these days, and no offense, most of them are buttholes, and they don't know how to date, and they're selfish, and they're thoughtless, and I don't know. It's just, I just don't have time for that. It's like everybody's like, come hang out, let's hook up, and then that's it. And then they don't like talk. They don't want to talk to you after. They ghost you, and then they call you when they're like wanting something from you. But nobody wants to like take the time and get to know you and spend time with you and stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't have time for that. I'm not sleeping around with people. You're wasting my time. Mm-hmm. I was talking to my friend about that the other day, and I was like, I don't understand why all these people are like sleeping around and stuff with, like on these apps like Tinder and stuff. I'm like, you just hook up with someone randomly, and you don't even know if it's gonna be good. Like, why would you even waste your time? Like, if there's no guarantee that it's gonna be good, like, I'd rather sit on the couch and eat ice cream and watch Netflix. Like, doing something that actually was enjoyable.
I was gonna say, at least you know that's gonna be good.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna have any activity on a couch, it's gonna be eating ice cream. I get it.
Chocolate. Yeah. But I'm like, with the dating thing, it's like you get to know people, and like with the whole sleeping thing too. And my thing is, I'd rather be with someone who knows everything about me, the way I move, the way, like if I were to make a sound, they know what that means or whatever. They know every curve of my body. And it's like, not just like hit and quit it. Because I was talking to my friend about this the other day, and I was telling him, I'm like, why do guys like rush all the time? Like, if you want to get to the goal, just get some conditioner in the bathroom, finish it yourself, like hit that goal. Like, why do you need someone else to do that for you? And then after that, you have to pretend like you like them, and you don't even want to like cuddle with them, and all girls want to cuddle. So I'm just like, I'm like, it's just too much work for me. I'm really picky about who I spend my time with and how I spend my time, and I'm not wasting it on some random person just because I need something, you know?
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, you
So
also,
I think that in relationships.
well, you also factor in that, you do have children. So, I mean, does that play into a factor when you're meeting guys as well? Like, are some guys as receptive to the fact that you have children, or are they, kind of push that away?
My kids are grown. They don't even live with me. They all have, my son has his own family. My daughter's in college. My other daughter's about to get married. Like, I don't have any. I'm free bird. I can do whatever I want, when I want, how I want, as long as I want.
So you don't have young children at home that play a
So
factor into
no,
the process.
no, my kids are grown. I have grandbabies.
Oh wow. I didn't want to put you out there on Front Street.
Yeah,
I didn't know you were a grandmother. How does that
yeah,
feel?
I'm a younger grandmother. But my friends tease me. They're like, "You're not a MILF anymore. You're a GILF." I'm like, "Y'all are stupid." But it's kind of funny.
Now, I did field a couple questions from people. I told them that, they hit me up and let me know what some questions they wanted to ask you. And a lot of people wanted to ask a lot about the fitness stuff. And one person messaged me and wanted to know, like, what is a struggle point for you? Like, what is something that, I mean, everybody has their own hurdles and, personal stuff that they try to overcome. What's something that, is like a stumbling block for you when you're training that you have to put extra emphasis in?
I don't always have the motivation, and sometimes I don't even have the discipline. So I have to like go back in my mind's eye and envision who I want to be, what I want to be, and then having goals like I know I have a shoot coming up, so I have a deadline that I have to be like how I want to be for the shoot. And so diet's hard, and I don't like calling it diets. The way you eat, like I love chocolate, dark chocolate. I like chocolate cake. I like chocolate mousse. I like anything chocolate. So that's kind of hard for me. But the discipline, and then also I get bored in the gym now. So I'm always having to mix it up and try to figure out a new routine and stuff. And I used to think kettlebells were stupid, and then I started doing them, and now I'm like getting obsessed with them. And then I get bored, so I'll make up different kettlebell routines. And then there's this one trainer on I think her name's Hannah D Fitness. She's got like bright red hair,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll watch her stuff, and then I'll try to do her difficult moves, and then I'll just keep doing it until I master it, and then when I do, then I move on to something else, another kettlebell routine. But I like HIIT because HIIT is a mixture of everything. It's not like just cardio. It's not just weights. And I love working out in the steam room or a sauna. Right now I'm in a sauna because I don't have a membership to a gym that has a steam room. Because I would be in the steam room all day. I love the steam room.
All
So,
right. Now, what is someone else want to know? Like, what do you
yeah.
do? What do you do on your free time when, I mean, aside from, training and eating chocolate, which I feel like can be counterproductive, but what is something that you enjoy doing? Like, what is a hobby that you have, or some kind of a secret trait that people would be really amazed that you're really good at?
I'm not really good at it, but I've been trying to train for 3-gun competition. I love shooting. I got into it. My ex-husband was a Marine sniper. He was actually one of the top snipers in the Marine Corps. He's highly decorated. And so we always had guns around the house, and he had an arsenal, and I was always afraid of them. But he always says, like, you need a gun in the house, protect the house, whatever. Then when he left, Andy took all his guns. I was like, now I'm the protector of the house, and I need to learn how, because that's what he taught me, like about, a gun is necessary to protect your house. And so that's what I believed, and so I was like, I met different people, and I'm like, could you teach me? Because I didn't know what kind of gun I liked. I'm really good at long range. I love shooting a sniper rifle. I like long range. I think because I always hit the target, and I don't know if that's because there's a scope on it that helps me, but I'm not really good with like a pistol or a handgun. And also I haven't found a gun that I can shoot well, because I'm still trying to learn to shoot with both eyes open. I'm right hand dominant, but I shoot left with my left eye, and so I'm just now learning to shoot and get my sights up and be able to capture both sights as quickly as I can with both eyes. And part of the reason is, like, I now have to wear reading glasses because I'm anything close to my eyes. I don't need a prescription. I just need like the Walmart reading glasses. So when my weapon goes up in front of me, my eyes are trying to adjust because I'm trying to get that gun as far away from my eyes, because if it's up close, it's blurry and I can't get my sights lined up. So I go shooting a lot. I get a lot of invites to go shooting, which is amazing because the people that are inviting me are like people I want to shoot with. So his name is on Instagram. His name is Gunshaw, but his name is Grant Shaw. He's one of the owners of the range in Austin, and he owns SB Tactical. And he invited me down to shoot with him. That was fun. And Kellner Snipercraft, I've been shooting and training with him, and he's been teaching me like the basic, like why, all the way down to why this bullet is called this, or why is this measurement, and why is this gun called this, and he's just teaching me all kinds of stuff. So and there's one guy I really want to train with. His name's Michael A. Glover, and I'm like, I want to train with him. So I go shooting a lot, and I go hiking. I like to hike because in November I was supposed to hike to base camp of Everest, but I ended up in the Bahamas doing disaster relief work, so I didn't end up going there. So this year I'm going to hike Everest up to base camp. So when I can, I'll find a hill. There's not a lot of hills here in Texas that are high enough for me to train for the altitude. So a couple times I went to Arizona and climbed with some friends some hills, trying to get adapted to the altitude. So I'll do that. And the thing I'm going to do soon, because I've been wanting to do, is go to an indoor skydiving, because I can't just go jump out of a plane every day. It's kind of expensive. Mm-hmm. But I haven't tried the indoor skydiving yet, so I'll do that. So it just depends. If someone invites me to go do something that sounds fun, crazy, or scary, I usually say yes. And then if not, I think about what I want to do, and I'm like, I'll be like sitting, like I'll wake up and I'm like, I think I'm going to go skydive today, or go do this, and then I just go do it. Or I'll call someone, hey, can I come shoot with you, Mm-hmm. But shooting, I like to shoot a lot. I'm not that good. I want to compete in 3-gun, and that's my goal for shooting. And then I'm going to build my own arsenal, because I just think it's cool.
I mean, I'm amazed at like how you have the time to do all of this stuff. I mean, I feel like I live my life literally hour to hour. Like, I literally have to stop myself at a certain point and say, okay, I'm done working on this now, because I'll lose track of time or something. But I mean, geez, we should.
If it's something you love and passionate about, it's good that you lose track of time.
Well, it's mostly work-related stuff. I wish it was so much, passionate about being, of something, but it's usually, if I'm working on a task, or, I mean, I guess it could be a passion too, doing podcasting and, trying to create a YouTube channel and, maintain social media pages. And sometimes I feel like I have to literally write it out and plan a schedule and say, from this time to this time, I'm working on this. At this time, I have to stop. So I admire your time management, because it seems like you said, you have so many different things going on. And I guess, I mean, you may have kind of already answered a little bit of this question, but something I like to always ask a guest on the show is where do you see yourself in 5 years from now? Whether goal oriented, or personal life? Like, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
My nonprofit will be up and running. I'll be traveling in the globe and speaking. And I'm hoping to have a third book, because I'm working on my second book right now, my third book published. And with the relationship thing, I mean, if I'm in a relationship, I'm in a relationship, but it's not something I'm, like, actively seeking, and because I was married for so long, I have the luxury. I mean, everybody has the luxury. Some people just like to settle. I refuse to settle. And that's part of the reason I'm single. Because I want what I want. I know what I want. If I don't have it, I'd rather have nothing than have to deal with less than what I want. So, I hope in 5 years I'm a professional shooter, or at least an expert shooter. And then I just want to get back into traveling and stuff, and just figuring out. I'm hoping that I'm exactly where I want to be as I see myself in my head. So, like, with the bodybuilding, we'll go back to that. I was like, I'm going to be a bodybuilder. And then I became a bodybuilder. And so I said, check. Now what do I want to be? I want to be a personal trainer. Okay, check. Now what am I going to do? And every time it gets harder and harder, because I'm like, how am I going to top that? How am I going to become better? And I was like, okay, I'll be a published author. Okay, check. I want to be a swimsuit model. Check. Like, whatever I want to do, I go after it. So I was competing. I was training because I wanted to be in the LFL, which the LFL, you and I had this conversation, is now dying out. So I train, and I don't just when I go and I want something, I go and I find the best people, and if I have to, not necessarily beg them, like literally beg them, but I will beg them to be like, please spend time with me, because I have to be the best. I need to go zero to hero. There's no zero to next level. I need to get there. So when I was training for the LFL, I found retired NFL players, I found active NFL players, and I found coaches and trainers that train NFL players. And I would find different gyms. Like, there was this gym in San Diego called EM Speed. Speed, and I can't think of the name right now. Sorry, guys. But I went there because I was like, I need to learn how to run fast. I need to know how to move like a football player. Football is the hardest sport I have ever played. I had to learn to juke. I had to be able to learn to move on a dime, like change direction. I had to learn the proper way to run and how to run fast. And so I trained, and I would drive 3 hours just to train for 2 hours, and then drive home 3 more hours just to train with these trainers. And then I tried out for the LFL because I wanted to be a professional football player, female football player. And then I got cut with Jerry Rice's daughter. And I was really upset with it, about it, but not, I cried actually when I made the video for everybody to see. And a lot of people were following me to see if I was going to make it. And so many people, I was so thankful for them, were like, we want you to play football. We want you to play football. And, like, I had professional football players following me, watching me. And so when I didn't do that, but my goal was to become an athlete. So when a professional athlete called me an athlete, I remember he's like, look at you, athlete. I stopped him. I'm like, what did you just say? He called me an athlete. And then these trainers that train these professional athletes called me an athlete. I was like, okay, I'm an athlete. Check. Let's move on. What am I going to be now? And I would go on to the next thing. And so right now, my goal was to become a badass, like badass boss lady, how I see that in my head. And so I'm working like really hard, like trying to get to how I see myself in my head. I don't like be like, oh, I want to be like that person, or oh, I want to be like that person. I be like how I see myself, and then I work towards it every day. How can I be that? How can I be that? And then, so my first goal was I'm going to be a badass. And then when guys started calling me, guys that I respected and were like, man, he is a badass. They called me a badass. I was like, oh, I think I'm a badass, but I haven't arrived in the way I see myself yet. So I have this screensaver on my phone. And people are like, is that you? I'm like, nope, by the end of this year, it will be me. Because that's how I see myself in my head, of what I want to be. And then I was thinking about this the other day because I was like, oh, shoot, once I arrive there, what's the next level? Like, what do I do next? I'm thinking I'm going after that Nobel Peace Prize or something. I don't know. But it's a mental game, really, with myself, and literally like brainwashing myself to the point where, and I write about this in my first book about your thoughts and your words and what you speak, and then you think about it, and whatever you meditate on, whether it be good or bad, it sooner or later it's going to drop into your heart, and then you become that. And I learned that from when I was rock bottom. I believed I was worthless. I believed I wasn't good enough. I believed I wasn't pretty because all these people told me that, and I believed their words instead of believing the words like God tells me, or the words that I believed about myself. Like, I'm a good person, even though some people are like, you're such a bad person. And I'm like, I'm not a bad person. Like, I don't do anything bad. And so when someone says something negative to me, I will take their words and I'll evaluate them and go, is there any truth to that? Because if there is something bad and truthful about what they're saying about me, I will fix it and change it, because I don't want to be whatever that negative word that they called me. And if they're not, I just cancel those words and I speak words over myself. Like, if for example, if someone were like, you're so stupid, like, I'm not stupid, I'm really smart. So I canceled their words and I spoke that over myself, you know? And so it's trying to master that mind game for myself is what I do. And then I listen to different podcasts, I listen to different sermons, I listen to different speakers. And if I find one that I really like especially if it's a speech or a sermon or whatever, I will play it over and over and over and over. I'll play it in my car every time, you know, until I practically can repeat it. So that those words land in my head. And so all the pictures that you see, I told myself, I'm going to do this. I'm going to become this. And then I did. And I don't know, it's just hard to explain, but that's just how my brain works. If I want something, I'm going to go after it no matter what. I will do whatever I have to do as long as I'm not hurting someone else or cheating someone else out of something or whatever. As long as I'm still a good person going after what I need to go after, you know. Mm-hmm. And I keep my character, my morals, and my standards up, and my ethics. I'll go after it. So I'm really excited for 2020 and some of the things that I don't want to put it out there. Sometimes I do put it out there because then I'm held accountable. Like, everybody becomes my accountability partner, and that's what I did with bodybuilding. I'm like, I'm going to compete, and then I had to compete because I said I was going to do it because I'm a person of my word. So sometimes I don't put it out there, but then I have conversations with myself. Well, like my mind goes back and forth, especially if I'm like tired or whatever. Well, nobody knows that you want to do this, so if you don't do it and you don't reach it, then nobody's going to know you didn't fail. They don't know that you failed, but then I know I failed. So then I reevaluate my heart's intent. Why do I want to be this, or why do I want to do this? Am I trying to impress someone, or am I literally just doing it because I want to do it for me? And so that's, I don't even remember what your question was. I think I answered it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think you've answered it perfectly well there. The book is titled For Such a Time as This. It's available. I can see it's on Amazon, paperback, hardback, and as well as like on digital print. When can people expect the new book to be out?
I'm hoping it's this year. And this one's called Obscure to Secure, and it talks about when I was rock bottom, and it talks about depression. And it's going to have 3 parts to it. So my last book had 3 parts to it. It was my story. It was my story, how it lined up with the Bible. And then it was the path that I took and how to get on that path with fitness. So I put a 30-day workout and a 30-day meal plan in there for people that are beginners or whatever to do that. And people are like, hey, can I train with you? I'm like, just buy the book. It's way cheaper than like paying me. Like, buy the book. Mm-hmm. And then you can read and highlight. So my next book is about suicide and depression and my battle with it, and the attempts that I've had. Like in 2009, I had things going on in my marriage, and I remember that day I went and I kissed my kids, and I told them I loved them, and they didn't know anything. They just thought, oh, Mom's just come and tell me I love them, or she loves me. And then I went in my room, I locked the door, My ex-husband was on the other side of the door on the couch watching, I don't know, football or something. And I went into I knew where his Glock was. And it's always loaded. All his guns are always loaded. And I knew how to like take the safety off. I knew that much. And then I put the gun to my head and I pulled the trigger, and the gun jammed. And in that moment, I was like, I'm such a failure. I can't even kill myself properly. Like, whatever. And then in that moment, God literally spoke to me. Like, I could feel his breath. And he told me, because I had come up in an abusive family. And so all that baggage kind of led into my marriage, too, my self-esteem. And all of it added up with all the things that happened within my marriage to send me rock bottom after my divorce with no self-esteem and everything. And so in that moment, God was like, stop trying to kill yourself. Because I used to, like, try it with pills. And he said, all those times that you tried to kill yourself before, you failed. Because you have not fulfilled the purpose for which I created you. So stop trying to kill yourself. And so from that moment on, I stopped trying to kill myself. I had no desire to. But when I would hit a low point again, the thoughts would come back. And I would have to speak out. No, I'm not doing that. God said don't do that. Like, I haven't done what I'm supposed to do. And so the desire left, and the thoughts don't come anymore. I do still have to battle sometimes with depression, but they're just little valleys. And I think it's because I live such an adrenaline-driven life, basically, and I'm like a goal, hit the goal, that on the days that I have to, like, my body wants to rest and I'm tired or I'm starting to get sick, I feel like I'm not being productive, I'm not doing something, and I get depressed, or I'm not talking to anybody, or nobody's calling me or texting me. But that's my own fault because I don't give out my phone number. Like, nobody has my phone number. Like, you have to message me on Messenger or DM me because you're not getting my phone number. And so I have those moments. So that this book is going to talk about the things that I go through, the things that I went through, what it's like to be completely rock bottom, to be lonely, to think nobody cares about you, that you're not worth anything, that you're just, like, better off. The world is better off if I was dead because nobody didn't even notice that I was gone anyways. And so it talks about that, and it's going to talk about the aspects of the people that love you, whether you think they do or not. And if you were to disappear, you know, like, what's going to happen with them. And so that's what I'm working on now, and it goes hand in hand with my nonprofit that I'm starting with my friend Steph Camito, our Hourglass Initiative. And the Hourglass Initiative is for people fighting with depression and suicide and stuff, and a lot of the organizations I work with do that, but they are mostly like veteran focused or first responder focused, which is great. But ours is, I want it on a global scale. I want it for the veterans, the first responders, the kid that's at school getting bullied, that single mom, or even just a stay-at-home mom is like, is this really all there is to my life? Is like to take care of kids and clean the house, and I don't even have my education or whatever, or the LGBTQ community that, you know, people are like, I can't believe, like, you support them or whatever, and I'm like, you know what, and you call yourself a Christian, and I'm going on a tangent right now because this is one of the things that drives me crazy is Christians. People call themselves a Christian, yet they sit there and bash people and say, they're going to hell because they're gay or whatever. No, they're not going to hell. The only reason you're going to go to hell is if you don't have a relationship with Jesus Christ. That's what the Bible says. It doesn't matter what you do. Everybody has their own thing that they're battling. They do them. That's not my place to judge them. All I see them is as a person struggling, and no matter what they are, gay, single, black, white, Asian, poor, economically challenged, like whatever, they're still human, and they all have the same feelings and desires and wants, and they want to be liked and loved and cared about. That's everybody's desire. So our organization wants to, like, just focus on those people and be like, look, you're worthy and you have a purpose. And I don't know, maybe that's the purpose. God didn't let that bullet hit the temple, my right temple, and go through the other side. It's so that I could help other people, because if they're dead, they can't fulfill their purpose for which they created. And everybody has a purpose within this earth, whether it be on a small scale or a big scale, whether it be like as a big brother mentor or as a friend. Like, even if it's just for one single person on the earth, everybody has a purpose.
Hmm.
And that's the one thing I liked about when I was subbing was I would teach this to my students. I would always pick the class, and then I always the teachers would always ask me to sub for the classes were the kids that people call them bad kids. I call them special kids, and nobody wanted the class because these kids were rough. But I wanted that class because I knew that these kids were in there because somebody along their journey told them that they were less than in some way and that they fell short. And so I always would stand in front of the class and I would wait for them to stop talking because they would be like, why is this crazy lady just standing in front of us staring at us? Like I wouldn't say anything until they got quiet. And then I would be like, why are you guys in this class? And they would say, oh, we're stupid, or like, for example, for math, we're not good at math, or even like reading. We can't read, or we can't spell, or whatever. And I would tell them, this is the level that you are. You will rise to my level. I will not go down to your level. You're going to rise to my level because this is the level that you are. You are smart. You are capable. You have a brain. So that alone qualifies you. Just because you're not good at something doesn't mean you're less than. It just means you're not good at it. But you probably excel over here. And if you excel over here, there's someone that doesn't excel, but that doesn't make you better than them, and that doesn't make them better than you. It just makes them more qualified or like better at that thing, but it doesn't make them overall as a better person because we're all equal. Some have more money, some don't, but that doesn't mean a millionaire is a better person than me, and I'm not better than a person that has less than me, and I'm not better than a person that has $1 million or whatever. So that's what our organization is going to focus on, is just trying to help people. And so this year I'm working on my book. I need to work on it a little bit more, actually, and then I'm doing a conference somewhere so that people can come and not just hear me speak, but hear other people who have battled it. So, like, when I was in the Bahamas, God put this man on my path. He owns some shipping company. And we were talking, and then we were talking about my book, and we started talking about suicide. And he was wearing a bracelet. And he told me his son had killed himself. And so I'm going to reconnect with him when it comes time, and I'm going to have him come speak so that he can share his story as a person who lost a loved one from suicide, and be like, I loved him, and he didn't know it, or whatever. And so, that's what my goal is to do that on a global scale, traveling in 5 years.
Well, I mean, it sounds like a
really,
very interesting, packed 5-year process. But it's well thought out. I wish I could say the same for some of these politicians that are running for office, that they had a thorough 5-year plan. I'm just, we'll work on 4 years, first to get through the first 4. But I mean, it sounds like, you have so much stuff that you want to do and so much you want to give back to the universe from what you've been, given opportunities. And I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us and, kind of let us know a little bit about yourself, because unfortunately, and we talked about this off air, is that, sometimes when people see things online, they only see visuals and they don't get to hear the voice or the message that you're trying to put out, into the universe. But the cool thing about social media is it does allow people to interact with you. So let everybody know where they can find you or connect to you through, social media or online presences.
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, on every social media aspect. I mean, I'm YouTube, but I don't really have that much stuff up because that's a lot of work. And that's one thing I would like to focus on is YouTube, but I just don't have the time. And so right now it's not really a priority because I've got other things. Prioritizing is part of my key to getting things done. But I really, really appreciate you asking me to be on because, like you said, people see me a certain way or they think I'm a certain way. But I'm like a real nerd. I'm a nerd, and I'm really nice. I'm a really nice person, and I get judged.
I'm a really
by
nice
so many
nerd,
people, especially by women. I think most nerds are pretty nice, I guess. So there's some I know that are pretty stuck up, but whatever. But I get judged a lot, even especially like by women and stuff. because they say things, or people will be like, oh, you're a Christian, and I can't believe you pose like that, and I get a hard time because of my body, and it took me a long time to accept my body. So I appreciate you, like, giving me the opportunity to share a little bit of my story with others, because my goal for women is I want to empower other women. Like, I think you can be sexy and be a Christian, and you can be sexy and be a mom, and sexy isn't about sex. Sex is about how you carry yourself and the way you speak and the words you choose and the confidence that you come. And the moments that I'm not confident, nobody will know it, because I will fake it until I am confident.
Fake it till you make it.
Not to sound like I'm fake, but right. but and I don't think that makes me fake. It just makes me. I'm practicing my confidence in that moment, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I usually I'm pretty open, so I'll be like, yeah, I'm really nervous right now, or I'm really like I'm not feeling adequate or whatever, because I've come to a place where I can actually like speak what I feel. But my biggest thing, and I want everybody to know this, not just about me, but I hope that they embrace this, is it doesn't matter what people think about it. It does to an extent, but to me, if you don't pay my bills, I don't really care what you think. Like, if you're not paying my bills, you're not feeding me, you're not putting a roof over my head, which I can do all that myself, but I don't care what you think. And the people that I respect that are in my inner circle, or people that I look up to, I will ask for their advice, and I will think about it, and they'll say, I think you should do this, and I won't do it. If I don't want to do it, I'm not going to do it, but I will take bits and pieces, and I will evaluate it and think about it and stuff like that. So I just want people to be like, get to a point in your life where you don't care what other people think, and be like, just do you, as long as you don't hurt other people. So,
well, it sounds like you got a game plan, which is a lot more than what some people have, and hopefully the people can take away from this conversation is exactly what you just said, is to, start to work on yourself and allow everything else to kind of fall in place. I mean, I know it sounds as simple as that, but it really is when you start focusing mostly on yourself and your own self-being and understanding yourself, and, having, your relationship with God, or, whatever spiritual beliefs or whatever, that helps motivate you to get you from, like you said, from that, zero to hero status. And I think it's really cool that you're able to spread that message, and we, really appreciate you taking the time to kind of, like I said, motivate some people. Hopefully, if when people are listening to this, if one person walks away from this and feels motivated to do something else with their lives, or to change something for the better, then I feel like you've served your purpose.
Thank you.
Not a problem.
I'm so honored to even get to speak with you.
Not a problem.
You have an amazing voice, in case no one's ever told you.
Well,
nice voice, really nice voice.
Well, that's because you've already figured out my love language. So you already know that you didn't need to give me a gift. You just need to praise me and tell me that I'm good at something. So I see how you've already used that process in this conversation, and I appreciate that.
Well, no, it's true, though, because I never speak things that I don't honestly believe. And real fast story. So there'll be people with these babies, and everyone around the baby will be, this is how truthful I am. They'll be like, that baby's so cute. That baby's so cute. And I'm not like, you all are a bunch of liars. That baby's not cute. But I will find something positive, and this is just an example, of the baby. Oh, my gosh, your baby has a lot of hair. Or that baby's precious, because every baby is precious. Or, wow, look at them thighs, or something. I will find something positive. But if I don't think that somebody is cute, or I don't tell them that. So you do have a good voice, and that's really what I think. And thankfully, it is part of your love language, so I hope you feel loved.
I do, and we appreciate you again coming on, and we hope to hear and see and, read more of your books, and just, much blessed success to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's been fun talking with you.
Awesome. Well, we'll take care, and we'll hear from you soon.
This is Alysia Rieg, and you're listening to Mix Master B on MMB Radio.